we have to make to all our listeners, especially that we had the birthday show on. But again, for the importance of this program, I'm sure when I get to introduce my guest on the program, you'd get to know that this is of very, very serious importance, and so we're bringing it to you, and that's talking about what the general situation of security, what it has been like in the state. We've had a lot of meetings going on, outreaches that have been going on, all in an attempt to make sure that Kaduna is safe for us. And of course, who else to talk about it than the Commissioner of Internal Security and Home Affairs. It's been a while now that we had him in the studios, but glad that we're having him today. And I'm sure that a lot of you out there would want to ask some questions too about what we have surrounding us. We will be talking about the Kaduna-Abuja road, also be looking at the situation in Birnungwari, Igabi, Giwa, and of course what is coming out from the southern part of the state. We'll also look at discussions that have been held or had with Kano State, especially representatives of Kano State on a forest that close by to us. Would also like to look at what the military, especially security operatives too, have been doing. Glad to have you once again in our studio, Samuel Arwan.
Thank you.
Good morning.
Good to be here.
Yes. Well, we're going to start by saying that before we get to the nitty-gritty of it, what the general situation of security would be like or is like in Kaduna State.
Well, like you know, and I believe you know, because you've been following.
Yes.
You've been following the event. If you look at the situation in Birnungwari, up to Giwa and part of Igabi local government areas, it has been quite challenging within the last 1 month or thereabouts, and the weather has not been favorable. I wouldn't want to go into more details, but then security agencies are really doing their best. Like you know, the defense headquarters actually set up another response team to a banditry in the northwestern states that also include Niger in the north central, and the base is situated at Faskari in Katsina State. We've been working with them, following event and sharing a lot of information. And the coordinator of the defense headquarters media, Major General Enenche, if you've been following, he has been reeling out a series of breakthrough by troops in all the locations in the northwest, including Niger State. For more security reasons, I wouldn't want to say much about the plan, the present plan, or what is being targeted for some locations in Birnungwari, Giwa, and also Igabi. In a due course, we will talk about them, but for now, we would like to lie low so that we don't undermine what we are doing.
Okay. Oh, well, Sam, let me take this from Chinua Achebe's Things Fall Apart. There's a proverb there that since the hunter has learned to shoot without missing, the bird has also learned to fly without perching.
Yes.
I want to talk about the Abuja-Kaduna road now. At a time, there will be quiet. I mean, the road will be safe, so to say. And at another time, again, it will pick up again. We're talking about people who also monitor the activities, of state governments in terms of making sure that the security situation is safe. Yeah. So these are not people; they are members of the society. Some would say. So this incessant, attacks that we have on the Abuja Expressway. How well are we, on top?
Well, you should be able to give me. You should be exact to tell me. At around this point on the Abuja-Kaduna road, there's a problem. But to the best of our knowledge, based on what we know, because this is our job and we are following issues as they unfold, I can tell you without any reservation that armed forces, in particular the Operation Thunder Strike that comprises the Air Force, the Army, and the Navy, the police, the civil defense, and a detachment of DSS, they've done significantly well on the Kaduna-Abuja route. And you also have to look at what have been put in place on the road. For instance, apart from Operation Thunder Strike, there is Operation Povhada, that is purely a police response team, and there are also sections of about 2 police response teams that are working on the road. For instance, you look at the intelligence response team, the IRT, they are in Kateri, and they are also in Jere. Kateri is in Kachia local government, and Jere is in Kakarko local government. Added to that, there is Operation Povhada. When you look at the nipping points that they have, starting from Gonungora, it stretches up to the boundaries with Niger State and also that of the Federal Capital Territory. And aside that, you also take cognizance of Special Tactical Squad of the police. The IRT and the STS, they are intelligence-based response teams using a lot of technical know-how, using a lot of trackers, using a lot of devices. Is an intelligence-based response teams that I wouldn't want to say more about it so that we don't compromise what they are doing. Added to the fact that the Nigerian Air Force too have opened a small base that gunship can land, gunship can foil and take off at Kateri. For instance, if you have a serious problem around Mashirgi or around Kabrasha or Akunaku or around Kurebi or around Dogongona that stretches in between Niger State and our state, around the Birnungwari Chukun flash point there. By the time a plane will leave Birnungwari to that axis, you know, to carry out interdiction and go back to Birnungwari, it's time consuming. But with what you have in Kateri, by the time a gunship or a helicopter loaded with troops, by the time it carried out operation around that axis that I mentioned, there is no point of it can simply come to Kateri and fuel and go back. And the troops, they are there on the ground. You can form a blocking force like they've been doing. And if you look at what happened in January, when we had a problem around the Igu Makaranta axis, where a couple of troops were killed, even though the troops also did well by neutralizing many of the bandits, you realize that since then we've not have a monumental challenge on the side of the troops. They've made inroads, they've made a lot of progress. So a month ago, when a group of newspapers reported that bandit actually kidnapped people, it turned out to be false. We went there, we could not confirm. I am not saying that we've overcome security challenges in Kaduna State. Here and there, yes, there is a lot of troubling issues that are emerging that I will not want to talk about it. But then we're making progress. So I can tell you that the Kaduna-Abuja route, there is significant progress in comparison with what was obtainable in the past. But then people need to support troops. People need to support security agencies. Information is vital, because from information you can be able to plan ahead of the bandit. With information, you will have actionable intelligence, which you can use to pursue bandit. Because it's better you take the war to them than you allow them to bring the war to you. And this is part of the problem, because information is very scanty, because people are scared to speak. People are doing a lot of things, collaborating. I will not mention a name of a community that is not far from here, where we are having a lot of kidnappings around that area. It may interest you to know that the person that was providing information for the bandit was actually a resident of the general area who was even running a business. You will never imagine. You will be surprised what brought about the linkage between him and the bandit. So, and when you look at the logistics, how do bandits assess logistics? So it begins to make you wonder. So information is key, collaboration is key. Communities must be able to come close to security agencies. And that is why security agencies and government are coming up with the non-kinetic approach or approaches. Because we need to come close. We need to share information. By the time you share information, it will help you. You will plan ahead. You will have actionable intelligence. You won't just have intelligence. Once you have actionable intelligence, it simply means that you have information that you can work on. You can be able to plan and move ahead. So in a summary, we're making tremendous progress along the Kaduna, Abuja route. But if you have a contrary view, roll it up. Let's digress it. And for me, I would like us to speak with the public.
Okay.
Let's hear from people. So let's make mistakes. Let's hear the people. What are the people seeing?
We will. Again, let me bring this again. How that would help in security matters. I'm talking about the federal government saying that yes, state policing can now can now take place. Would this from your own assessment too, would this add
certainly
pushing more onto what
certainly
what we're having now?
Yes. Certainly, it's a very complex problem, and the space is littered with so many explanations. In Nigeria today, virtually everyone is authority, whether in security, whether in governance, and so on. And but you just have to shut your ears. You just have to concentrate on what you are doing. Because if you are managing security issue, you don't try to look at demography of who will be involved or who will not be involved. What comes to your head is, what do you do to save a situation? I am not speaking for A or I'm speaking for B. In security issue, you are in the middle. You try to save life. That is what is important. It is not about playing to gallery. It is not about doing media hype. It's about reality. Social media is not a reality. Social media is not a reflection of what is real. You can't form a shadow government on the social media. What do you need to do? You need to understand there is a need for us to do more, and that is what we are doing. For some people, their interest is maybe to look at their own people. What do you call their people? Maybe to look at people that they share same faith with them or same political affiliation or inclination or ethnicity and whatever, But for security agencies and government, the most important thing is, what do you do to avoid the problem? What do you do to save life? And government can't be anywhere. Kaduna State is very large. Kaduna State is about 46,000 square kilometers. Benue alone is about 6,000 square kilometers. Almost the same size with Abia State and whatever. So we have to do something. There must be collaboration. There must be dialoguing. You must come in to understand a problem. You can't stand from afar and make a deduction of what will not help the process. So for us, we have a focus, and we are pursuing our focus. This problem did not start with us. It has been there. It has been there for ages. So the only thing we can do is to play our part with sincerity and honesty and move on. But no matter what you will do, you can't come out blameless. Definitely, people will blame you, people will say this, people will say that. But the most important thing, you do your best within the lifetime of the opportunity that you have. And someday, it will be history. Before we came here, some people were here, and tomorrow we will leave and some people will be here. So reality is different from fiction. If you are in here, if you sit where I'm sitting now, what you see is different from what you will see from the angle that you are sitting. That is why 9 to some people is 6. 6 to some people is 9. M to some people is W, W to some people is M. So this is how it is. The most important thing is we are focused and we are pursuing our cause. And you know, one of the unfortunate situation with security issue in Nigeria is the emotional blackmail that is attached to it. You know, emotional blackmail. Emotional blackmail is a blackmail that is built around sentiment. It's a blackmail that is built around emotions, where if you are not careful, if you don't couch your words, you take very well, you are likely to be presented as irresponsible. You are likely to be presented as if you have no feelings or you have no empathy. But it is not so. Nobody owns the world. God does. God did not consult you. God did not consult me before creating us in Nigeria. There's a limit to what we know. There's a limit to what we can do. But if you are dealing with security issue that is so loaded with emotional blackmail, you have to be tact. You have to count your words. You have to know how to tread. Because even people who will be cashing on the situation to make a name, to be more famous, who are even the greater enemies of the people, are likely to be presented as heroes. So you have to be careful. So the best way to approach this is for you to be focused. Just be focused and focus on what you are doing, and you leave everything to posterity. But then, for instance, you are media, you have to wait for your reporter to get you information about what is happening in Birnin Gwari. Okay? Because your footprint is limited. Possibly what you have, I have it, even better than what you have. But what I know and what I possess and the footprint that I have, the vast footprint across the length and breadth of Kaduna, you don't have. So you see people arguing from the point of a shallow information. You see people arguing from a perspective that is not holistic. Or you see someone who will present himself as a researcher, but his speciality in the research is trying to look at is for him to count the number of those that are affected in his own community, or people that share same faith with him. That is a shallow research. So when you have a half story of a particular problem, you should be able to listen to others that have another story to it. For instance, if a leader of Fulani will speak today, he will speak from the perspective of Fulani. If a leader of Adara will speak today, he will speak from that perspective. But if security agencies will speak, the security agencies will speak from a general perspective. Security agencies are everywhere. They have footprint, and there's a structure. What will happen in Line Dang Outa, in Birnin Gwari local government area, that share boundaries with the Musa local government of Katsina? Structures is on the ground. The police there will report to his divisional police officer in Kuyelo or in Birnin Gwari. The DSS operative on the ground will report to the DSS head in the local government. You know, the troops that are there under Operation Sharandaji will do the same thing. There's an Air Force detachment in Birnin Gwari, they will do the same thing. And there are structures. This information will come up to the center. It will come to Kaduna, and it will go to the headquarters. And the same thing with government. There's a chairman of a local government. And in every local government, there's a structure that you assess, that you glean intelligence. Like I can tell you how many people were killed yesterday in Kaduna State. Yes, I can tell you. I have it. I can tell you what happened, where, what goes wrong, you know, who went to the farm and did not return, who was grazing and was and is missing, the number of people that were kidnapped, you know, those that have returned home. And these structures is so vast. There are the security agencies have what they call debrief or debriefing, where again you engage people. And there are also devices or facilities that you can be able to use, you know, to know what is happening. So when someone comes out to say that he's more informed or he's more abreast than security agencies or government. You just laugh. There's no need to argue. And government is not sharing statutory and constitutional responsibilities with individuals or groups. No. There's only one government. And for instance, you are twin Alabi. You have your son. You are the father of your son. Your son is your child. If there is any problem between you and your child, or if there is any problem between Prince and his wife, it's with government. Because the oath of office that the governor took is to work for people of Kaduna State. So the relationship that Prince shares with his wife or mother is biological. That one is natural. But the state responsibility, that is why if there is a problem, it is between the Prince and the state, or between Prince and Commissioner of Police. Who is the Commissioner of Police? He's standing for the state. So when someone comes out to say that he's more concerned than the state, or that he's more concerned about governor of a state, it's ridiculous. When I read lines where someone is saying that, oh, the deployment of special forces in Birnangwari or in Kafanchan or in other locations was not a fault of Kaduna, I will laugh, because I am involved into this, because I am involved of transmitting communication from point A to point B up to point C. Because I will tell you that on 2 occasions that we met with the Chief of Defense Staff, he will tell me that, oh, Samuel, don't worry, the special forces are coming this week. After 2 days, we say, Oga, how? Don't worry, they are coming. You know? So the issue is this. If we have interest in saving lives, we should back it up with commitment. We should back it up with sincerity. We should back it up with honesty. There is no need for coloration. And unfortunately, that is the problem in Nigeria today. We have a situation where someone even came out to say that he has a statistics of amount of money that was paid to bandits as ransom and so on. So you see a lot of ridiculous, you see a lot of coloration. And if you lose your cool, you lose the battle. So they will usually win the euphoria, but they will lose the battle. The ordinary man who is there on the ground, who felt the brunt of bandits, or who felt the brunt of violence, what he needs is protection. What he needs is security. What he needs is when to live his life, either to farm, or to go about the local economy. Because if you look at the pastoralists, for instance, it's a very complex problem. It's a problem that started, and people tend to look at it as a Fulani all affair 10, 15 years ago. But today it's a general affair, because you have a large chunk of pastoralists that have impoverished. They've run out of cattle. The little economy that sustained them is not there. Added with the climate change, added with the drying of the lake Chad, you see a lot of movement northeast upward to northwest with a lot of criminal elements. And on the other side, because there has not been a sound structure that can be able to administer good governance, concerns of citizens were not well thought of. Even where they are thought of, implementation or trying to do something that will bring about even development is not there. So there's a lot of challenges. You look at the economic aspect of it, you look at the social aspect of it, you just look at a lot of variables at the end of the day. So this is not about grammar. This is not about telling people a history of 1,000 years, or telling people about my father or about my mother. What do we do? What do we do? How do we avoid the problem? That is what is important. It's not about taking unsubstantiated claims. We are not interested in A or B. What we are interested in is let's have stability. Okay. How do we put a halt to what we are facing?
All right, Sam, another issue here is the forests that we have. These are natural endowments, and any nation that has that would be glad that it has that, especially when it can put it to use. But these forests, which are blessings from God, have been turned again. Criminals find it a safe haven for them to, carry out.
That is another problem.
Yes, and so I like to look at the issue of forest and the challenges on security from Niger State, where we share border, we know what happens, and of course, Chikun local government area. And not too long ago, you were in discussion with Kano State government, especially with the forest that would be between Kaduna.
Yes, you are actually talking about the ungoverned space, and the criminals or bandits find safe haven in the ungoverned space. And like I told you, a state with 46,000 square kilometers. This is our situation, from Kuduru Forest to Kuyambana Forest, to Kamuku Forest, to Pelgore Forest, to Riawa Forest, to Kidandam Forest, to Galadima Forest, to Bala Forest, forest all over, to Zangang Forest, and what have you. It's a big challenge. Do you have manpower that you can be able to put boots on the ground in all these places? No. You don't have the boots on the ground to man 46,000 square meters, square kilometers.
So would this be the exclusive reserve of the bandits too, because they take control of?
But you can see the air interdiction. You can see what the troops are doing. This is part of the expansion. This is part of taking the battle to them, which I don't want to talk more about it. You just have to forgive me. But I'm telling you, there is something. Security agencies are not sleeping. Government are concerned. And that was what necessitated the meeting between security agencies, Kano and Kaduna State government, with more concern about the Pelgore forest in view of the emerging fronts. But I don't want to talk about it. We are aware of it. And there's something on the ground which I wouldn't want to talk about it. But then you will hear from us.
Okay. Well, again, what has taken prominence, even though negative prominence, and of course, again, the state government on top of it to see that peace returns to this area. I'm talking about the situation in southern Kaduna. It has gained not only national but international, prominence on the negative side. And of course, we are glad to say that with the peace commissions, with the talking dialogue that we're having on both sides, peace is returning to the area. But the issue of settler issue and indigene issues really came up on this front. Again, that we finding lasting solutions or peace, in this area of paramount importance. And
certainly. Well, since 11th of June, when the crisis broke out in Zangon Kataf and Kauru local government areas, we've been on the ground. We've been doing a lot as far as issue of security is concerned. On the 11th of June, there are special forces of Nigerian Army that were deployed that very day, and later on, another batch of special forces from the defense headquarters were deployed, and lastly, the special forces of the Nigerian Air Force too were later deployed to the general area. Aside from troops of operation, Safe Haven, the police, the DSS, the civil defense that have been on the ground. The deployment of special forces is meant to consolidate, is meant to strengthen security assets on the ground, is to have more boots on the ground. But beyond boots on the ground, you have to do a lot on the non-kinetic approach, talking to people, talking about the need to recourse to the law, because recourse to the law is very important. That is why since 2015 the message has been one. It has been very clear. The appeal of government of Kaduna State to pastoralists is, in the course of grazing, if you come under attack, whether your cattle is rustled, whether pastoralists are attacked, whether there's a problem, what they are expected to do is to recourse to the law. No one is allowed to take the law on his own. And the same thing is applied to host communities, as the case may be. When someone goes to the farm and he is missing, what they are expected to do is to recourse to the law. Because when all sides recourse to the law, it will less arbitration. It will make resolution less. But in a situation where everyone carries the law on his or on her head, there will be a problem. Problem will worse. Problem will become very, very complicated. Most when you look at identities that usually appear in most of this, you will sympathize with government. You will understand what we are saying, that recourse to the law is very important. Recourse to the law will help us, to reduce tension and to de-escalate tension as well, to de-escalate, so to say, if you compare if you look at what is happening in the general area. Most of these problems, like I said, are very complex. They are very complicated. They are very complex with a lot of identities that are coming into it. But once people recourse to the law, it will reduce the tension. It will save more lives, far from what we are witnessing. So for us, we believe in that. Apart from security asset, apart from the boots on the ground, like I mentioned, we are also involved in discussion, in conversation, because conversation is very important. As I speak, the Atiap chief don't have done so well as far as issue of resolution, meeting with Fulani and also Hausa communities, and it has helped. It has bring a lot of. It has helped in reducing tension and the problem. And Kaduna State government is in support of the initiative. As we speak, the northern leadership of Christian Association of Nigeria has been working in the general area. The same thing with other Islamic groups who are equally involved in containing the situation. And I've seen a couple of conversations that are going on. I have participated as an observer in most of the conversations that are going on, and I'm impressed with the quality of what.
Why is this? People tend to believe that the fifth columnist is very involved in the Southern Kaduna issue, and some people who have asked for peace and would want to go for dialogue to have peace have been labeled as sellouts. And of course, government again has been painted in a way that some people say government is one-sided on this issue, and if government's prerogative is about all citizens inclusive, and why must government be lopsided or one-sided on this matter? So the fifth columnist coming in, because we have rights out or rights up coming from outside, the state, on outside the area, on the situation in.
Well, I have read a couple of articles. I've listened to some commentators who also express their views. But to me, this is not new. To call someone a traitor because he's a chief of his domain, he's more informed about you. He knew what he has experienced. So whatever you call him, I think you are not fair to him. Take the distance of His Royal Highness, the Aguatiap. I was born in Kaduna, and at least I have a little knowledge about some things that have happened within the Kaduna town, for instance. He's an accomplished civil servant and also public servant. He was chair of a local government. He also headed our development control agency at one point in life. He was a seasoned administrator, like I said, who left the public service as a permanent secretary. He has literally seen it all. So for anyone to come and try to belittle the efforts that he initiated, I think is not fair. But then that is public service. In public service, you hear a lot of things. Even people who don't know you will talk about your history. Even people who know very little about you will claim to be authors of your history. They will even write your biography. It's only your autobiography that they can't write. So for me, that is not a problem. We've all carried that brunt, where someone will sit somewhere and say that somebody is a sellout, or someone is working for his stomach, or someone is working for some people, and what have you. So as a journalist who have practiced for over 10 years and now in public service for over 5 years, at least I do know that in the Nigerian space, people can call you names, even people that are not up to you, even people whose life is not even up to yours. They can come and say a lot of things about you that are not true. And when you try to seek redress, it becomes a problem. We are witnessing the drama 2 years ago, where a group of people or individuals, one come out to stereotype a particular ethnic group that almost caused a problem, and government hurriedly take action about it. And the process of litigation or prosecution commences. What you hear next was the coloration of the problem or the case to religion and ethnic affiliation. And we have another case of a young man who is full of himself, who's tried to say that the governor of Kaduna State is responsible for the setting, for burning one of our government agencies. And when he was called upon to substantiate, it became another thing. So if you want to be a freedom fighter, I believe you should do a lot. Okay, you should read the history very well. Since you want to live like Mandela, or you want to live like Walter Sisulu or Ahmed Katrada, or you want to live like Oliver Tambo, you should know that Mandela never denied what he said, or Oliver Tambo never denied what he said. There is no point of view who writes something to say that, oh, you've made an allegation. Once you are called upon to prove your allegation, or you quickly deactivate your social media account and so on and so forth. That is cowardice. In 2011, I'll give an example. I wrote a report, and the security agencies came for me that they want me to substantiate what I reported. I stood by my report. At the end of the day, the security agencies, they apologized to me that, yes, your report from what we've checked is correct. So you have a lot of confusion. And, from the very moment that you add emotions into what you do, you lose basic tools of rational thinking. That is why you see a lot of educated people, people who are so learned, when they say something, you get scared. You begin to imagine what become of them and so on and so forth. So one is not, we are not, for me, I am not new to this. Or someone will even say that one is even hungry, or and so on and so forth. And like I always tell those that are coming behind us, what we should do in life is we should be fair to people, we should be honest to ourselves, we should work hard, and we should know that the world is watching. Our world is not only restricted to where we come from. The world is very large. So we have to put all that behind us, and we push forward and do what we think is right, and we leave that to posterity. For me, that is an old fashion. I have been a spokesperson of governor and government for 4 years in Kaduna State. And now I am a commissioner in the Ministry of Internal Security, and I do know that if you're in public service, you will come a lot of scrutiny. You face a lot of allegation, character assassination, defamation, slandering, and what have you. But you just put focus. I am telling you, we will win this battle by the special grace of God. 5th columnist, or whether if they are 10th columnist or so, we will continue to work hard. What is important is to save life, and we are concerned about it. Like I said, it is quite unfortunate that some people will use emotional blackmail to say that it is only them that are concerned about what is happening. If I bring you documents, a lot of people were opportune to be in government. They are opportune to do a lot of things. They have carried out some actions while they were in government. At that time, it is fine, it is okay, it is correct. But today, it is another thing. It's playing to the gallery. Or as I'm coming to the studio, I will have announced that please tune in. I will be with Toyin Alabi, or tune in. I will be here, or I will be there. What is important is we've outgrown all that. We should look at the solution. What do we do? What gives me joy now is the fact that we've been able to tame the scale of this problem, and we are thinking outside the box. What do we do? How do we put an end to this bandit? How do we form a formidable blocking force? How do we take the battle? Search for them is very difficult. You are told that they are at a particular place. You waste resources. You know, you took risks. You will go there. By the time you get there, when people notice movement, they alert them and they move. This is part of the problem.
Let me just take on one issue before we move on to other security matters of the state, and that's talking about the rights of people. We all have rights to belong to associations and to unions. Again, I'm bringing this up because SOCAPU, the Southern Kaduna People's Union, represents the people, spokesperson for the people. A situation where you have government saying that it would not have talk to this union, representatives of the people. How well, when we're talking about finding lasting solutions and all of that, is this not a misnomer to what should be on ground?
Well, you are trying to drag me into an issue that I'm not ready for it, because my hands are full.
Okay.
Because we have a lot of issues ahead of us. In Kaduna State, there are 32 emirates and chiefdoms. There is nowhere in Kaduna State that has no government structure. Are you saying that if the government of Kaduna State is speaking with His Royal Highness, the Agwatiab, government is not speaking? Are you saying that if government is speaking with His Royal Highness, the Agorok, government is not speaking?
We're talking about working for lasting solutions, and all hands must be on deck.
It's all encompassing. It's all encompassing. But what I want you to know is you won't drag me into what I'm not prepared for. I'm a fighter. You know that. When I'm ready for a battle, we will go into the battle. But that is not my issue. The issue, like I told you, is what do we do? How do we solve a problem? I told you now that I'm a bit okay, because we are making progress. We have more boots on the ground. We are doing a lot of consultations. We have doubled up engagements, and we are seeing inroads, and we are making progress. So what do we do? How do we block other avenues? I've told you my concern, and which portrays the concern of security agencies. Government is stretched. Security agencies are also stretched. So what do we do? This is not time to talk about the union and the government. No, government is government. Government has no substitute. From now until 2023, that is when the mandate of this government will end. For me, I have respect for everyone.
Okay, still on security. Let's talk about internal security.
So what you are talking was politics.
Okay, another time for that. Internal security, the challenges that coming up.
So many challenges.
Yes,
so many challenges. The media is a challenge as well. The media is a challenge because the media open the space for people to come and make commentaries that undermine security.
The gatekeepers of society.
No. But there is what you should do. You can't give the space to someone that will say something that will be responsible for the killing.
You allow the other person to come in too.
It's not a show. You are talking about human lives. You know that someone's agenda is different from security, but someone is hiding under the garment of a problem, and you still allow him. So is that a social responsibility?
You know about this?
No, I said, but is that a social responsibility? That is not.
That we bring that is not from corner. I mean,
that is not. You have interviewed me as a journalist. You have interviewed me.
Yes.
I said you have interviewed me.
I know that.
We've interacted with you as in the media cycle. Can you cite me an instance where you give me a platform and when we undermine security? Let's look at 10 years. Let's look at that, and that is what we are talking about. You are talking about. You are asking of challenges. I said the media is a challenge. I have
not said no to that.
Yeah, I said the media is a big challenge because everybody come to the media,
which is okay.
Good, but then there is a social responsibility.
Of course.
So there is a need for the media to do a lot.
So other challenges that we're seeing, yes.
Other challenges again is narrative. People will not confirm something and they go on with it. This is a challenge. There's a lot of blackmail out there. There's a lot of distortion. There's a lot of misrepresentation out there. And it increases the magnitude of the hate that is there. So it's a challenge. What do we do about it? Another challenge is politicization of security issues.
By politicians?
You know them. At least they do come here.
It's a very big problem. Give voice to the people.
It's a very big problem. Because while others are sincere, if you've interviewed a couple of people that I pick 1, 2 or many things from them, I get points. I understand what they say. The hitherto I don't understand, but there is nothing wrong. But you cannot be championing a political cause using security as a baseline. Absolutely, there will be consequences.
We don't do that here.
I didn't say you.
Okay.
I say you cannot be.
Yes. Okay.
You cannot be politicizing security challenges, but the end of the goal is to get advantage, is to make capital out of it. That is dangerous.
It is.
It won't go well for all. And I will take you back to the media. You are following the debate where media scholars are saying there's a need to review the curriculum. Critical stakeholders are saying that there's a need to review the media practice in this country. You are aware of what happened last week. You know better than me. For anyone to have the audacity to throw such invectives, there's a problem. So what do we do? And another challenge is we are sitting on a deep-seated mistrust and animosity. What do we do? No matter what you preach, no matter what you say, the impact is not aggressive. And these are challenges that we're facing. And you also look at the wider implication. I've talked about the climate change, the drying of the Lake Chad, for instance. You look at the proliferation of light arms and weapons, surrounding the Sahel and whatever. What do we do? These are challenges. 2 weeks ago, there were conversation. There were a bilateral discussion between Nigeria, Niger, and I think Benin Republic or thereabout on how to block the infiltration, the movement of arms and ammunition into Nigeria. So the challenges are so enormous, But then we have to do our best and to see how we can salvage the situation. But it's not a good challenge. It's taking toll on those that are involved into this. If you are involved in internal security management, you have no time for yourself. You're always on the run. You're always on the road. You're always engaged. The phone will come. The phone will come. You get a lot of information. You get a lot of distress calls. And you have to act. You have to do something. You have to give hope. And when people don't get you, it becomes a problem. That is why I felt for people that are manning our operations room, because they are there 24 hours, though they work on shift. But virtually, when there's a huge sound, someone will call, say there's a problem, and by the time you move there, you realize that it's likely to be a thunder, or it's likely to just be a strange move within the bush, but someone felt there's a problem, and you have to listen to him. So it's not a tea party, but talk is cheap. I won't lie to you. Talk, I know it's cheap. To talk, no, Nigerians can talk. You can say, oh, government is doing nothing. So who is even talking about the challenges that security agencies are going through? As we sat down here with you, as we are sitting here, there are troops there in the forest, 40, 50 kilometers from the main road. They are there, living in shams, doing a lot of things there, so that me and you will be here. But when you tune in, you hear a lot of things. Security agents are not there, this, that, or someone is trying to create a story to present security agencies as lame, to say that government is insensitive and whatever. If there is someone that will want stability, it is government. For me, in a week, I must be in Benungwari, I must be in Giwa, I must be in Igabi, I must be in Zango, I must be in Kauru, I must be in Kafanchan every week. I must work within Benungwari axis up to the Sanga axis. And now we're having another emerging front within the Pelgore forest and around the Lere axis that link up to Rahama, up to Bauchi State. So do you think this is what I like to do?
On easy lies the head that wears the crown.
Yes. So for me, I would like to be around. I would like to cruise. Certainly. Because who doesn't want rest?
Not with what the
I'm just trying to give an example. I forgot I have also been on the Kaduna Abuja road. I won't tell you where I will go today, but definitely I'll go to places that will run to about 200 or beyond kilometers. This is what we do. So for me, who is always on the road, whose life is on the line, you sit in your comfort of your home, you write on social media, you think you love peace and stability more than me, or you think we are doldrums? No. Or you sit somewhere and see what you want to see? No. So you just smile. Anyway, this is burden of leadership. Someday it will be history.
The program is Perspectives, and with us in the studio is the Commissioner for Internal Security and Home Affairs, Mr. Samuel Arwan, sharing thoughts with us on what the security situation is in the state and how government is going about it. Of course, security is the business of all, and so we are all part of it. Then taking some time talking, time we bring in the audience now and hear your thoughts and, of course, raise issues that you may want to bring to the attention of the Commissioner. But before then, we'll just go for this commercial break.
Invicta FM.
Welcome back. Here's the program Perspectives this morning, and I'm Invicta 98.9. And this morning, with us in the studios, the Commissioner for Internal Security and Home Affairs, Samuel Arwan. Time for us to take your calls, hear your comments too on what we've been talking about, security in the state, and of course, securing the state. Must, sound a note of warning that please let's be civil with comments on the situation so we can have a peaceful conversation. So numbers to call to be part of this program: 081 40,000 989, 081 40,000 989, or 070 87 800 989, 070 87 800 989. Hello, good morning. Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Yeah, this is Abdullah from Kaduna.
Abdullah. All right, let's hear you.
Yes, sir. I want to ask your guest this question straight up. Is it right to negotiate, or will he negotiate with bandits as against bring them to justice? Will he negotiate with bandits as against bring them to justice? This case in point, the state government negotiated with bandits. It's in the public space.
Okay.
Stop banditry attack on innocent people as against bringing them to justice. To me, well, I'm asking myself if that is just. That's another kettle of the fish. So will he negotiate with bandits as against bring them to justice? That is one. Secondly, it is in the news of recent where the Excellency, his principal, our governor, asked the security agencies to book, or rather to arrest the killers of the Fulani young man who was killed at Jabaland. And I want to ask your guest this question. We did not get similar response from his principal, our Excellency, and our governor when thousands were killed in southern Kaduna of the arrest of such people. Why do we have that disparity?
All right, Abdullah, let's come straight to the commissioner. All right.
Okay. I will think we take more questions so that we don't run.
Okay, if that will do. Okay, so Abdullah on the line first, and still with another call. Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Yes. Your name?
Good morning to your guest.
Your name?
My name is Ismail Baba from
Ismail Baba?
Yes, from Romy.
Okay, Ismail Baba, let's hear you.
The guest, I will say kudos to their effort. Don't forget that the most difficult thing to manage is a human being. And we should not tolerate human beings. We should not be temperamental, just issues.
Okay.
And the total as a layman. But I don't want to be part of our time or forest that is uncommon. As he did mention that there are areas that are uncommon. And if we have such areas in Nigeria, we have fantastic efforts and infantry. What are they waiting for? They should swing to action. Rather than waiting for the swing to action.
Okay.
Secondly, our advice, your guest, to please
Okay, sorry, we're having a problem. Ismail Baba or Ismail Baba? Mike Baba. Okay, we're having problems with this line. Honestly, just couldn't get you. Hello.
Hello, good morning, Mr. Tony.
Good morning.
Good morning to Commissioner.
Good morning.
It's Francis from Abanidon.
All right, Francis.
Thank you. Honestly, Mr. Commissioner, you have explained your activities very well to us, and we are very happy to hear from you.
Thank you.
Know that government is concerned about what is happening in the state. But where I want to, I don't know whether I will ask you to not blame the media. Media is only watchdog between government and the masses.
But you know I'm a journalist.
Yes, I am very much aware.
All right, I'm not.
The media is only means by which we, the citizens, expresses our displeasures and our gratitude to government.
I am not opposed to
which
that.
I know very well that even your government also use the media before you put them to power. So why then will you blame the media from helping us to speak to you people to come to our rescue.
Thank you, Francis. Thank you. Let me come to the commissioner.
Okay. Well, I think Al-Hassan.
Yes, Abdullahi.
Yeah, Abdullahi asked a question. He said, negotiating with bandits. Which will I prefer? To negotiate or to bring them to justice? Well, bring them to justice. That is my point. And I know that Al-Hassan wants to fall back on a particular story that is attributed to Kaduna State. I will invite him. There are issues I can't discuss here. But I beg Al-Hassan in the name of God to send me a text on 080-3797-4265. I will explain some things to him. But I will answer his second question about that government went to Jaba when a Fulani boy was killed, and government said they should fetch out for justice. And according to Al-Hassan, he had not seen the same thing on the other side. That is wrong. On the 17th January 2020, at Gora Weekly Market, unknown gunmen stormed the market to kill 2 girls. Let him check the record. On the 19th and 20th, I was in Gora. I went there. Government sent a delegation. We went to their families. We proceeded to hospital where we saw those that were injured. I wouldn't say what we've done thereafter. In Kauru local government, I have lost count. From Kizachi to Angomagaji to other communities within our boundaries with Plateau State, with Basa local government. The issue is very clear. We went on Saturday to say, we want to assure you that security agencies are doing their work. And government charged security agencies to equally do their best to ensure that there is justice. Now, I will take him back to the other issue. It is not true that government is aloof to the killings of so many people in southern part of the state. Let me lead him in. Or let me bring him to speed. On the 5th of June, 2020, in Zongo local government area, there was a problem between Atiap and Hausa farmers. 3 people were injured on both sides. Immediately, government sent troops and they contained the situation. 5 days later, that was on the 11th of June, on Thursday. Sorry, on the 10th of June, a farmer, Yusuf Musa Magaji, went to his farm and he was missing. The following day, on the 11th, his corpse was found. Some youth blocked the road. What happened later happened, and it led us to the quagmire we find ourselves today. So on these occasions, we were there. And again, I want to bring him to speed again. 8 people have been arrested so far in relation to this crisis in southern Kaduna. 6 were arrested in Mariri. 6 were also arrested. Mariri is in Lere local government. 2 were also arrested in Kauru local government around the Bakyung Kogi general area. Investigation is on. So where is the fact when someone say that government is aloof? No. If Al-Hassan is saddled with responsibility of governance in Kaduna State, in whatever capacity, he will not go unblamed. When you take some action, people blame you. When you take another action, people that were happy with you today are likely to be unhappy with you. And that is the human mind. So I am really expecting a text message from him. Let's plan. Let's see. Our going to Java was for peace. Our going to Java was to de-escalate. And we are grateful. The structure on the ground de-escalate. Our going there was to commend them and to strengthen the peace building within the area. And we are happy that we did that. And that we will move into other places. The best way to solve a problem is for you to go above but. Then Mr. Francis was talking about the media. Nobody is saying that I did not generalize, but I said some section of the media. There's a need for media to review. As we speak now, in view of what happened recently, you know, the NBC had a running battle with a particular FM station in Lagos and whatever. I am telling you, the media is sitting on. The media is sitting on. The media cannot be a vehicle where someone will come and hide under the platform and throw missiles in the name of common good. No. No. It's totally unacceptable. And nobody is opposed to people getting platform. No. People can speak. People can say what they want to say. But incitement is not freedom of speech. They are two different things. Whatever I say here today, I can stand by it. You've asked me a particular question that I dodged. I said, I have no time for that. I said, I'm not ready for that. And I went further to say that you know me with a joke that I'm a fighter. You know, meaning that issues that I will pursue it. So this is just it. Nobody is opposed to the media. And he said one where that the government used the media. How did we use the media? Thank God I'm speaking with Mr. Twain Alabi. You are the first person that first took me live in 2014 when I was appointed spokesperson of the campaign. Cite me where I used the media to blackmail or to hit at our opponents. No. Take on issues. That was what we did. We talk about security, talk about economy, talk about bringing the lost glory of Kaduna State, talk about the integration in Kaduna State. We talk about the glorious history of Kaduna. You remember when I talk about C.P. Crampton, you say, how did you know him? I said, I read it. When we were talking, because C.P.T. Crampton was the brain behind the rejuvenation of education sector in northern Nigeria. When I talk about, you said he was your teacher. You remember you said so. Yeah. You know, so we talk about so many issues. We talk about the Adekunles. We talk about what was obtainable in Kaduna town. You know, Nze Chukwemeka Nze Kaduna was born where? Argungu Road. Rashidi Kini here. We talk about Daniel Amokachi. We talk about Pat Utomi. We talk about Bola Iji, who had this primary education here at around Ibrahim Tayo Road, St. Joseph. We talk about so many things. How Kaduna was a building ground. How Adams Ali Oshomole came to Kaduna in the early 70s from Auchi in the old Midwestern state or
Bendel State.
Bendel State. You know, worked in Arewa Textile, married Clara. She was a typist there, a member of St. Augustine Catholic Church in Tudunwada. Rose to become the Secretary General of the Tailoring Union. So Kaduna was a grazing ground. It was a building ground where people, we talk about Professor Isa Odidi. When you said, you know, who is one of the leading who is one of the leading pharmacists in the world. I visited his company, Pinalpina, in Toronto, in Canada. He's one of the richest pharmacists, along with his wife, who is also a pharmacist.
Yes.
Who is also a pharmacist, So these were the issues. We were making comparison, if you remember. That was the campaign issue. It was not about insulting people, saying that Yero is this. No. We're talking about issues. Kaduna was a building ground. We are arguing with fact and history. I told you that, oh, the last time Kaduna had a governor who fulfilled a full 4-year tenure was McCarthy, you remember? We said, oh, Architect Mohamed Nabadi Sambo was here for 3 years, he left the scene. We say Yakowa came after 2 years or thereabout. God in his infinite mercy took his life. May his soul rest in peace. So these were the issues. We're talking about issues, concrete issues. But is that what you find today? No. And when you look at the campaigns of 2019, it was another point to reflect. 2 days ago, I was going through my campaign notes of what we said in the run of 2019, issues that I contain, in 2019. It was laughable. Somebody will come over the media and say that, oh, El-Rufai is a killer of this. El-Rufai is a butcher. El-Rufai hates this. El-Rufai this, that, and what have you. And I told you something. I said, what I have seen in build up to 2011 elections, I was doing a research on public communication, trying to look at what politicians, what different political parties are saying, trying to pinpoint combative political communication. And I told you, I said, based on my research, based on my interest in doing content analysis on political communication, the communication that I have studied, or what I am studying from what our opponents were saying in the public space, I said the election is going to be walkover. I told you, and I went further to tell you that from what I am seeing and from what I was following, we have no opponents. I said we have no opposition. And you remember the opposition even issued a statement to me to say that I was on Invicta. I said there's going to political civil war in their party. And it's not a lie, it's teased. They said I'm throwing tantrums and what and you remember all this, it happened. Because I told you that when you look at the quality of the engagement, it was very poor. It was an abstract. It can't convince people. You said, the main thrust of the campaign, if you do analysis of their communication, was about, he sacked these 3 heads, local government staff, 21,000 teachers, this, they are fighting this, they have done this. That is not issue. And we come with explanation that yes, we've laid off 21,700 plus teachers. This is our reasons. This is what we are doing. So far, we've employed 25,000. And we came with explanation say, we realize that the local government administration in the state is not effective. There's no clear line of duty. The foundation, the basis for which local government exists is not purposefully being pursued in Kaduna State. This is what we want to do. I said, and I went further to tell you that, I went further. It's so interesting reflecting back. I went further to argue with you that there is silent majority and there is loudest minority. And I went further to explain to you that silent majority are majority who appears once in 4 years. And they appeared only on election day. Silent majority is an individual who is poor, who is average, who have seen hope, whose child had no access to a quality education. But overnight, he can see prospect. Silent majority is an individual whose child needs a godfather to get to a place. Suddenly, with no godfather or godmother, his ward's child, daughter, or wherever, get a scholarship to go abroad on merit. And I told you they appear once. And when they appear, they tomb. They are blind to prejudice. They are blind to bigotry. They are blind to emotional blackmail. I told you. And I went further again to say that in information, there is what is called post-information verification. For every information that you see, for everything that I'm saying now, there is going to be post-information verification. There are people that will sit down, they will look at all that I've said from A to Z within the indices of neutrality and fairness and objectivity. Once they realize that all that the boy said, I'm a boy, once all the boy said is trash, they throw it. That is why for 5 years, you can be singing one tune, one song, nobody listen to you. It's because you've been times without number. You know, people have tested the validity, they have authenticated the substance, the quality, the genuineness of what you are saying. So, in a nutshell, what I'm trying to say here is this. Governance is about listening. Governance, again, is about taking bold decisions. Governance is about being courageous. Governance is about saying no to bullies. It's about saying no to people that will hamper development. Governance is about moving people from one point to another point, from point A to point B, C, D. Governance is not about moving the same person for 20 years who have been in A. You still take him to B. You take him from B to C. No, that is retrogression. And if you remember all this debate I told you, I said you can't be a commissioner 20 years ago. After 20 years, you are in a political process with children that you gave birth to 25 years ago. You are competing in the same space. I told you it can't be. There must be progress. We must move beyond that. And because those that have held power for a very long time, they have become landlord of power. They have controlled the minds of people. No matter what you do, it's going to be a clash of civilization. It's going to be like a clash of civilization, like Samuel Huntington said in the book. It's a clash of people that have held power for long, and those that have hold power for a very long time, they can fall back on so many identities, whether religion, whether politics, whether ethnicity, and whatever. But the issue is this: all the people of Kaduna State are one. Poor people in Benugwari are the same with the poor people in Sanga local government. The destiny of the children of the poor is the same wherever they are. So if you have a system that has appeared on the political scene of a state that is disrupting a certain tradition, there will be a reaction. But then, with tact, diplomacy, dialoguing, thinking and what have you, we will overcome this by the grace of God.
All right, and that will just be about the size of it on the program Perspectives today. We'd like to thank Samuel Adwan, Commissioner, Internal Security and Home Affairs, Kaduna State, for coming on the program.
I'm grateful.
Thank you. And Prince, thank you for connecting us with the people. Wisdom, thank you for putting us in the pictures. We'll come with Perspectives tomorrow. Good morning.